Welcome to The Leads Are Shit. This is a real estate magazine podcast, and with me is Andrew Foliato. He is the owner of Real Estate Magazine, also the founder of Just Sell Homes, a real estate marketing company that helps realtors market so that they can focus just on selling homes. My name is Taylor Hack. I am from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. I'm a realtor, I'm a team leader, and I'm a nerd. And I'm now available in hairless. I look like Dr. Evil's less successful brother, Mr. Evil.
I mean, mini me was right there.
Yeah, I'm fairly short. I'm fairly short.
Uh, Happy New Year, Ryan, and everyone else. Well, thanks for coming. We have a new AI note taker in today. I haven't seen transcriptor before.
Fancy. Shit's getting real.
Ryan agrees with your children, grow it back.
Thanks, man. You and my wife are on
Holy
the
from
same team as well.
Salem. Well, there was a while on my TikTok feed where I got inundated with videos of the guys who shaved their beard and then showed their family, and it's like 95% of everyone's like, "Oh, grow it back."
Yeah, the reactions are not good.
No, most people prefer the beard, is what we're learning.
Yeah, the
And I showed my wife saw yours and she's the one who told me about the video. And she's like, "Don't you think about shaving yours?" I access when we had one of our kids, we weren't sleeping, obviously
oh
newborns.
no.
And one time I went to like do the beard trim, but I forgot the piece that keeps length. And I just had like right down the middle, just that big
Oh,
chunk gone. I was like, well, now I gotta shave it all. She's like, ew, why? So yeah, good times. Maybe I'll cut this out of the part we put on YouTube, but
no, the I'm
leaving.
actually having an issue over here. So if I look odd, it's
Okay.
because of that. So I have two
Okay.
screens set up, and where they meet is this camera. And
Yep.
normally I have that all organized so that I
Yep.
can see you. But I dragged the window over, and now it's like somewhere in Neverland between the two screens.
Oh, that happens sometimes.
Yeah, and so like I think I have to eject and come back.
All right, I'll
I don't
hold
have a
for it.
reasonable way to solve this. So
See you
shit.
later. I'll hold it down. See you, Taylor. All right, so everyone who's here, we're going to talk about kind of what to do marketing wise in the first couple months of the year because there's a lot to do. And it's actually looking great. So, I mean, this is actually, I think, the most people we've had live in a while. So, thanks to everyone for coming. So, we're going to kind of literally walk through kind of Taylor's plan for the first couple months of marketing for 2026, and then I'll probably rip it apart at some point while we're doing that and offer suggestions. And if the off chance you are in the Mississauga area or want to go to the Mississauga area, Taylor and I are doing the Leads Are Shit live at Remax Jumpstart. So basically, they are bringing us on stage in Mississauga, January 20th. And we are literally just going to sit there and basically do this show from stage. And if there's no, well, we are recording it, but we'll have some fun.
Hmm.
It's going to be good.
It would be
Um,
good. The I've done a fair amount of speaking, and you have done a metric ton of speaking.
yeah.
Like I did not do it connected to like directly connected to an income stream aside from charging for speaking, but the that's kind of the way you have to do it. Like if you see these people on stage and you think that, man, I want to do that, what I originally thought is, oh my goodness, like this is like stage and then TV. This is exactly how that's going to go.
Yeah.
Um, but what you learn later is it's kind of like karaoke. So like if you're a reasonable singer, they want you back because otherwise, oh God, the others
Yeah.
are not good.
Like once you do a couple events and they know that you don't suck on stage, um, that's when you start getting a lot more booked. That's the big
You
thing.
got to
Would
be able
Taylor
to
have hair
trust
then?
that somebody with an audience.
Yeah.
Like
So
looking
the
back on
question
it,
here.
when Richard Robbins trusted me the first time with an audience over 1,000 people,
Yeah.
like what a maniac.
And
The
it's a much different thing when it's 1,000. Like what I've learned over the years, like there's tiers of like to get
hmm.
used to of like audience size. Because like I actually find like really small can be just as hard as a really big. Because like if it's like 10 people, they like feel like they have that conversation with you. Like it's less like a I'm on stage presenting. It's more I'm just talking to these people and it's a conversation, which you do have to be prepared for because that's different. Like they're just gonna like respond to you like you're talking to them. Um, and then it's like from there to like 100, it's not a huge difference. And then like 1 to 300, like the crowd becomes a little bit faceless. But then when you go up to 1,000, it there's like a collective energy to the room that's like completely different. Like it moans in unison. It's almost like an ocean of people, or it's like it's less about like, okay, like if there's even 300, you kind of pick out groups of people in the room and you're kind of talking to them almost. But at 1,000, it's like this collective. It's a very different experience when you go over 1,000, I find. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun.
I think that that's where people kind of start to lose things is that really each of those audience members is having their own experience and they're influenced by
Yeah,
the atmosphere around them. And there's very specific things that you do to kind of like organize the audience that people don't see from the outside. Like they don't see comedians do this and speakers do this, but you see a few and then you're like, oh, okay, that was sweet. That was a
yeah,
real nice 1-2 punch when you came out there because you went right into self-deprecating humor, which made you really accessible, and then you contrasted that against some of the highlights or some shocking like experiences you've had.
yeah.
And the way that that made you credible, wow, that was a great use of time. You did that so efficiently in like under a minute.
Yeah. Like the two toughest parts I find, and this is my experience, has been the opening of a talk and the end of a talk. The actual middle part's the easy part. Like that's just the content. You know the content, but it's like start because like like it's the easy way to lose a room is that classic speaker. Hello, everyone. I can't hear you. Let's say hello a little bit louder, right? Like or good morning. Say
So
it
I
like
should stop doing that? No,
yes,
I'm just kidding.
100%. If you do it, you're done.
Hmm.
Official statement. And then the exit is also pretty hard, right? To finish on a high note, sometimes you have that awkward, it's like the bye, right? Like the end on that can like do really well. It's harder than most people think.
So uh to get better at that part, I did stand-up comedy. And
Yeah.
I did it 3 times a week, never having done it before for 5 weeks. And I think that if I would have been doing something physically hard, like you've done some mega workouts. I remember when you were on a specific streak, really showing, how much intention you have when you put your mind to something. And the same thing, I was on this and I was just getting smoked, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was afraid every time because I'd be trying to save myself before the next one because when it doesn't work out on stage, it's painful. And for me, I had these easy audiences where they're like, hey, this guy knows his stuff. And that made that audience easy. And so getting to the other side of that really helped me see it. So
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And we got some people commenting here. And Anthony Brown. So Anthony Brown was a witness to my first time on a large stage. And I
Speaking.
appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. So good to see you, Anthony. We've also got some folks like Comrella from Toronto. Jennifer Dutton Munn is back. Frequent flyer. Good to see you. Ryan Hickey is new. And
I don't think he
where are
is. I
you,
feel like
Ryan?
he's been here before. He's from Calgary.
He
Sounds like
said first time live though.
oh, I feel like I've
So
seen his
thanks for
name in
coming live.
somewhere.
And if you're not live right now, if you're catching this in the podcast atmosphere on YouTube afterwards, know that there are people here right now that we interact with. Most of the time, they come in and they tell us who they are and where they're from because real estate is a contact sport and it's a geographically based game. So that's great.
We had another first timer, Todd from Godrich.
Yeah, we
Catherine
got.
from Northern Sault Ste. Marie. I like Sault Ste. Marie. Editor of Rem has a cottage just outside Sault Ste. Marie. True story. It's a great area. I spoke in Northern Ontario last year. Yeah, good times. All right. So today,
So
though,
we're
we're
going to
talking
be in
about,
Ontario in later
yeah,
in January. This is something that if you are the organizer of conferences, we'll have more kind of experiences that you can have with us on stage, depending on what type of platform that you are on.
yeah,
But both of us have experiences with large audiences, and that's where we're much more likely to go. So just so you know, where your involvement is, but this is going to be a fantastic experience. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Amanda. It'll be great.
good. Yeah, I'm looking forward. It's gonna be fun. It's nice to do it. And I like local events. I know you have to travel, but I just get to get in the car. It's a nice,
Yep.
easy one.
The next one's in Edmonton, fella.
Yeah, I'll make it happen. I'll come. I've never been to Edmonton. I
Well,
will come out.
we'll see if you can. Well,
Let's do it
Edmonton
in the
is.
summer.
There's some times. Oh man, like bring your kids here in the summer, and
Yeah.
the sun's up before they wake up and still up by the time they go to bed. It's actually awesome,
My cousin
because
lives in
that's why we
Whitehorse, and
get
I want to
such
go
big
in the
daytime
24
highs.
hours of sun. I really, it's like I have a cousin who lives in Whitehorse, actually a friend from university too.
Mhm.
And I really want to experience 24 hours of sun. I do not want to experience 24 hours of darkness.
But when you're on
Uh,
vacation, how long are
yeah.
you going to sleep?
Depends on the vacation, what I'm
8
doing.
hours?
Am I with kids or not?
Yeah, well, like let's
Uh,
say that you're at least going to do 5, right?
oh yeah,
Well, then your 24-hour sun is here in Edmonton because you are not going to
yeah,
outstay the sun,
that's fair.
right? So you come in
Yeah,
June and you'll have it.
deal.
And
Okay.
Anthony, our houses have air conditioners on them because we have a crazy sway. It gets to minus 40 here. It sometimes gets colder than that. And we also see like plus 35, sometimes plus 40. So it's a hell of a sway here in
Do you get
Edmonton, depending on
Chinooks?
where you
And
go.
I know Calgary gets Chinooks. Do you
No,
get Chinooks?
Calgary gets Chinooks, but they
Because the
also get the
mountains.
offset of Chinooks. You know what that
Yeah,
is?
yeah. I
Extreme
lived.
weather. They get
I
crazy
lived there and I got
snowfalls,
like four
crazy
inches of snow
rain.
in June.
Yeah, hail.
Um,
We get
yeah,
none of that.
it's
But
great.
we also don't have we have cold, but no
Yeah,
spiders or hurricanes or like we don't have earthquakes. It's
we
awesome.
do have bears. Bears.
We do.
Yeah,
We do have
that's
bears.
so. This is a funny thing because I have an Australian friend. The way that like people talk about like being scared of Australia and like their animals, they talk about like bears and pumas and stuff here, and I was like, I never thought of it that way. Um,
Most people don't think about it at all, and that's why they don't understand things. Like if you ever see a wild pig, like a hog,
oh yeah,
on land with no fences between you and that hog is a wild hog, you have a statistically higher likelihood of dying than if you were to see a great white shark under the water.
great
Like
white's
they have
actually pretty
no
safe.
idea what animals to be afraid of.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Catherine, I'm not this guy. I was just about to say this is going to go back to that last conversation where we talked about hippos and stuff. Uh,
Okay,
we got to
back
go
on
back on
track.
marketing.
Right
Marketing.
now is a lot of people are like in the swing of
Yeah,
the first part of their business plan.
yeah,
Now, how I do it is I set it so it starts December 1. So we actually plan our recovery over the holidays and so on and so forth. We plan things to do to make sure that we get that reset. And that when we come back in January, when you have no momentum is the worst time, or when you're at low momentum is the worst time to think about which course you should be on.
yeah. Like you
Yeah,
should
like
really have already. You should now be like in pure execution mode, typically.
but if that's not the case, like this is part of the reason we do this is so that we can talk about it and you can just get swept into this momentum. So
Yeah,
when I take a look at how I'm talking to the people around us, which is marketing, right? We're going to talk about sales as being those conversations for cash, and then marketing as the way to call them into that, right? And the more you call to your ideal client profile, the better this is going to go. So with the Hack and Co team here in Edmonton, what we saw is when we took a look at our outreach marketing, even in mid-December, we had switched to starting to pitch strategy sessions.
yeah.
So when are the people that sell in the spring going to have their first experience with a real estate agent? The easier you make it to say you can call me, but it doesn't mean you have to sell now, the better you're going to do, because that's why they're not calling us, is they're afraid that we're going to be like, okay, let's get it to the market. And they're like, no, we want to move when the kids are out of school. So we want to talk to them about that preparation that they can do to improve their outcome. And
Yeah.
also, how do you time this market? Like, is there a difference in the amount of competition that you're going to have if you come the week after Easter or if you come 2 weeks later than that? You betcha there's going to be a difference. And it's a stark contrast to what you see 2 weeks before Easter. Like, there's a point where real estate, like buyers coming in, they're coming in and they're like, where is everything? What
And
people miss is that demand calls supply to the market in almost every economic model. So you get demand first in the spring, and you can actually talk to your clients about sliding that schedule forward a little bit and having less competition and being in a better situation, seller to buyer ratio.
I mean, the other thing you want to think about this time of year, especially if like with your case while you're dealing with families, is communicating timing on if they actually want the move to happen between school years, what that timing has to look like. Like when do they have to get started with the process? When like how does that all going to come about to make sure that they're moving in early July, settled before the new school year, that type of thing. Because like that is something you want to make a lot of people they don't want to move their kids during the school year. So it's also getting that messaging across to people of like, okay, if you want to be by this time, here's when you got to get started. Here's what the work back is from that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, that's a good one. We do that thing now for when school starts. So like how long do you have to buy a house in the school zone that you want to be in? We make
yeah,
sure that people know that they don't need to be occupied, like they don't need to have taken possession. They can have a firm sale agreement, but we want to get you shopping. And if you want the prime experience, wouldn't it be nice if you were in that house for 3 weeks before all of a sudden your world changed?
yeah,
Right? Could you imagine being starting your summer by moving and then having like actually some settled summer in that new house?
sounds so
That's what you
nice.
want to talk to, especially among those analytical buyers, that those buyers that are real planners.
Yeah.
So those are who you're going to get when you're talking about future tent. You're never going to get the magnanimous buyer. They're not going to make the decision until the week before.
Or that house happened to come up and you're like, yeah, we're just going to buy that now.
That's how they buy a house almost every time. Yeah, we
Yeah,
walked
that's how
into a
we do it.
show home. Really? How did you end up there? Like, were you lost and needed to ask for directions? Like, if you
There's
drove
a
to a fucking
sign on
show
the
home.
road. We were going by. It just showed up. Um, but yeah, like it's a
So,
big piece of like, but this is like where we do, we've worked this with some of the clients we work with on the strategy front is like plan out what we call the hand raisers for the entire year and pre-schedule them out to your database, right? So
mhm.
like schedule today the email that goes out in August that says like, are you planning on selling this winter? Um, we have a photographer going around during the month of August to take summer photos for our clients who are going to sell in the winter. Like schedule that now. So like think about like the times during the year when you could get people thinking of selling to put up their hand and pre-schedule all those emails out today so that they know throughout the year you have these emails that are going to go out to your database that's going to get interested parties to put up their hand and now you kind of have some like I like to have 15 to 20 of those go out a year that just randomly throughout the year gets people to put up their hand and talk to you.
Love it. So, that's great. And that's also why we're tagging things like the regular emails that we send out with
Yeah.
strategy session invites.
Yeah.
And I like to position that sometimes as if you like this, you'll like that. Or also, we just met people, they connected with us after we sent this email. Like, oh, last month, after market stats, a few people connected with us for strategy sessions,
Yeah.
and then maybe pair that up with the deadline and say like it's this many weeks till May 1st or whatever you want to define as like actual spring. I think of it as actual spring and pre-spring.
Yeah.
Like April's pre-spring and May and June are the spring market.
Yeah. This question here from Susan. What type of emails would be ideal to template to have that hand raised? So the emails you don't want them to be long. Like this is like it's very similar to the idea around like the Dean Jackson 9-word email that's like 9 words long with a question at the end. Some of these can be a little bit longer than that, but the idea is if someone was going to be moving, what would they respond to? What would
Hmm.
make them put up their hand to say, I'm in the market because I'm interested in that? And like there's an endless list of possibilities. Like it could be as simple as um, I'm training someone new at our company on how to price a home. We're looking for a couple people who are planning to move in the next few months. I'm going to come over and do like a full CMA to train them on it. Would you be interested in me coming by and using your home to train? And here's what you'll get out of it. Because what that does, it gets people who are a little bit further out, but because sometimes when people are far out, they're worried about wasting your time. and like being commitment, but now like you have this reason of I'm training this. Now you got to actually have someone you're training, or it doesn't work. But it's like again, it's you're just putting some thoughts into what questions could I ask and offer someone, and it could be like the other. We've done this simply of like we're in the midst of finalizing a guide on how to get your home ready for sale. Based on our method of getting homes ready for sale that gets this type of results. Would you like a copy when it's finished? Right? Because someone who wants that is going to respond. Do you
Hmm.
do one question survey email? Do you do the one question survey email?
Kind of. I I like the short 9-word email format.
Yeah.
And what we ask is, how should we treat you this year? So when we're talking about what we want to put externally, we're putting things related to strategy sessions is what we're trying to sell. And with Andrew, we'll be collaborating and putting some countdowns to the spring market on that.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to talking to like email marketing to the people we already know, well, we have a past client database, but it's a recent client database. Like if we helped you buy in the last 2 years, we're talking to you differently than if you're past that. So that first group, we're asking them if they have any projects planned. Because if they have projects planned, and we can refer vendors that they have great experiences with, we become that one-stop shop for when you think houses.
Yeah.
And we also build our referral network, who now that we've sent them referrals, keeps us in mind for when it's going to happen the other way around.
I'm curious if this would be a thing in Edmonton. I know this is a old mentor of mine was talking about this is what he did very successfully is because Toronto area, and I don't know how much this would happen in Edmonton. There's a lot of out of town agents who come to town to do deals. A lot. Every time he, as a listing agent, did a deal where the agent was from like a few hours away, he'd have a welcome basket for the new buyers when they moved into the home there. And
Hmm.
he's like, he's saying like it was over 70% when those people went to list in the future came to him. It was like that future investment for down the road because they didn't want to hire that guy from 3 hours away, but they remember the great experience with that guy who sold the like was the listing agent of that home originally. So I was thinking like if you have like it's a way of like forward thinking of you have a lot of out of town people and who work in your market,
Hmm.
you can actually get the client's next deal without interfering with the existing relationship.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I've definitely thought about this before as like ways to go about it, because you can also do like a process of elimination, because there's going to be a certain amount of people that had agents that aren't in the business anymore.
Yeah.
And then you can basically like, I noticed that you need a realtor.
So
The,
this is an interesting one. Danny Wood used to do this. Do you know Danny?
yeah, I do.
If everyone here doesn't know Danny Wood, he's great. We should bring him on. He'd be a fun one for an episode.
Great
Um,
strategist. Yep.
but he had one that he used to, where he actually, one of his prospecting angles was he looked for people leaving the industry and he would make deals with them for their database. And it was just like basically he'll give them the amount. And like, I think he had tested different things for just like straight giving them cash to referral fee. But like that was one of his pillars was let's find the people leaving the industry who aren't kind of there and like and we'll offer them something of value that still gets stuff sent over.
Yeah, and
What?
there's a few people that have like outline plans. Like Rebecca Mountain has an outline plan for that as well, where because like most people can't sell their book of business because the relationships aren't alive.
Yeah.
Like they haven't done enough as in the last few years to keep those relationships because they've been winding down for a while.
Yeah.
Whereas like to go and meet everybody with that person you're handing it off with and like actually make things land or help things land, that's very different. So there's different ways to approach this, but if you want to build a system for it, like if you don't like meeting people the conventional ways, if you
Yeah.
feel like you're not a strong opener, or have that sales floor presence or training that helps you execute with strangers in places like open houses, well, then this could be another good way for lead generation.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
and I mean like, even going back to when I sold, like I think of my first year, half my sales were just referrals from people in my office.
Hmm.
Just
Overflow.
yeah, they didn't
Yeah,
want
go
it.
find those high producing single agents.
Yeah, all those
They
are
don't want to
gold
manage
mines.
people, so they don't have a team.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially if they're
and
more than 70 or 80% listings, because that means they get a lot of buyer leads they don't follow up with.
they see buyers as too much work.
Yeah. And so just be like, give them to me and like I was doing half. I was like, I'll give you half.
Hmm.
Um, and I got a few deals pretty quick out of that. Like literally my first ever sale. Like I did a bunch of leases before. My first ever sale, that's how where it came from.
Yeah, what a great statement, though. My business is working so well and I'm so good at real estate that the hardest part of my job is driving.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just
Uh,
pass
I
on
should,
this overflow.
you'll like this story. I was agent in my office who was like one of the top agents in our town back when I was selling. One of her biggest pains in the butt, because she worked from home, she didn't work in the brokerage. And this was like, they still had a fax machine, like to date myself a little bit. Like it was the fax machine days. But then they brought out DocuSign. Her biggest pain was the amount of time it took out of her day to drive to the office to sign trade record sheets.
Uh,
And so I taught her how to sign them electronically because you could back then. You couldn't sign like an offer, but you could sign that electronically.
mm,
And for her, that was game changing in the sense of like she gained back hours every week. But
hmm.
that's how many deals she was doing that just the time to drive to the office and sign trade record sheets was a giant pain in the butt for her. That was a producer.
Yeah, there's a few different ways that you can start conversations with your database and kind of carry it through. One of the other things that so for the general group, I asked them how should we treat you this year?
Yeah.
Because if you are just planning to keep owning your house, then let's treat you like a homeowner and talk to you about like, do you have any upcoming projects? And if this year is already kind of like, we're thinking about making a change, or maybe we need to know more about what's happening, then it can go from there. Like Jennifer was mentioning, she uses the your thoughts on the market.
Yeah.
Uh, I like it when people use that for me, because like most of the time when people ask me like, "Hey, how's the market?" I know they don't want the answer.
Yeah.
Like if I gave them a detailed statement or kind of update on the market, their eyes would glaze over before I'm done the stuff I remember.
Yeah.
So in that case, what I learned is that they are basically saying, "Hey, I want a real estate with you." But it didn't work the same way in reverse. So what I learned is when I want to talk real estate with them, I would say, "Hey, did you see anything interesting in your neighborhood this year?" And then they'd be like, "The blue house around the corner, man, did it ever sell fast? I wonder what it sold for." And I'd be like, "Oh, let me check that." Why did you think that one that like why did you think that house was particularly interesting? And they're like, "Oh, because it's kind of like my house."
Yeah. Especially with past clients, there's a thing where like, and even we like some of the stuff I mentioned where it's like, try this to get them to put their hand. Like, there's a lot of value in also just being straight and to the point of just like send an email, be like, plan to move this year.
Yes.
Like,
And I like to go softer than that.
yeah,
And that's why I say if I'm asking you planning to move, what you're hearing is I'm looking for clients,
yeah,
right? And so that's why I go with how should we treat you? Because I'm just going to cut to the chase and be like, hey, do you want help? Or do you want me not to like people don't like
yeah,
it when you sell at them.
yeah. And
Hmm.
it's testing, and like this can also come down to like when you really have your database segmented, like you can even say like this group you can go harder with, this group you can go softer with. Like you can even start categorizing based on like level of approach. Like some people like the directness of, no, I'm good now, but here's when you can reach back out. I
Hmm.
got deals that way too, where I was just like, oh, you're gonna move then? Okay, can I reach out to you at this point? And he's like, yep, great, but don't
And
send
that's
anything
what they
between now and
want
then.
though.
Yeah,
Like even when you think about people sending postcards, like if the average person moves every 5 years and you send monthly postcards, 59 of those have a short trip with other items to the recycle, and one of them goes on the fridge and you win,
yeah,
right? That's how it works. And that's the same reason that like I like intuitive marketing. I don't care that Amazon listens to my calls because when I was a kid, you know what I wanted? I wanted to be a client of Always, the pad company for ladies. I didn't know they were a pad company. Their commercials had nothing about that. What they did have is horseback riding and swimming, and I really wanted to do that. And if Always was the way, I was going there.
Yeah. I have this
And
collection
now I don't
here.
see any women's hygiene ads at all, and I appreciate it.
That's fair. Yeah, you're not the target audience.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I
I find it funny now though, like when I do get an email with or like a Facebook ad that's clearly targeted wrong. I really enjoy those. But then there's the flip side of like this one's a little why are they targeting me for this one?
Yeah, what did I touch on the internet that
Yeah.
made you think I'd want that?
Well, when you really know too, it's not just that, it's because there's household targeting. So
Hmm.
your wife searching something will trigger something for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So then you can do, yeah, my wife's looking at me now because that's her desk right there. Yeah. So if
Hmm.
you search for something online, I will potentially see ads for it.
And that's how data brokers work, is they
Yeah.
essentially collect little bits of your fingerprints online, they put them together, and then they get associated relationships. And the more that they have on your family, occupation, recreation, and dreams in their database is how valuable they are to the people they sell to that market to you.
Yeah. And you have to think about that for your business. Like you want to get that type of information about them as well
Well,
so that
Amazon
you can
crushes
follow
it.
them. Oh
Like
yeah.
as soon as you get two adults ordering from the same address, you can start to make assumptions.
All right. This is a question from Anthony. Let's see what you say, Taylor. Just because we were discussing this today, if you had one email to send to your database at the start of the year, what would it be?
How should I treat you this year?
Easy.
Hmm.
That's pretty much it
How
too,
would
right?
you
Like
like
it,
me? I care about you and I want to be a value and not an inconvenience. How should I treat you this year? Like, if you want a real estate, I want to be right there. But if you don't want
that's
a
easy.
real estate, I just want to be your resource. You working on anything? Got anybody that, like, if you need a painter, you need a plumber, I know people that do good work.
Yeah. And a lot of it is just being straightforward, right? Like don't always overthink what it is. And then he says different for database versus online leads. I would also
Not at
do it
the beginning of
differently.
the year.
I might word it differently,
You could.
but then it also depends like what are the like status of those online leads, right? Like because yeah, it's online leads aren't just like a blanket group. Like are these an engaged group that are getting your market updates?
Well,
Are
I'm just looking for
they
hand raisers in that group.
dead leads that haven't responded to anything ever?
Yeah, so like, well, you could do the 9 word email, but you could do
Yeah.
it really short and tight like this, but make it themed to the start of the year.
Yeah. And
But
could be as
maybe
simple
I would
as
just
if
say
you
this
didn't
year in 2026. Like I would just
I
say,
would
are you looking
do
to buy or sell real estate in 2026
yeah, and make sure
or
it's
in
in
Edmonton in
2026, not this
2026?
year. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would keep it again. Subject line, very simple, like homes in Edmonton or homes in wherever, house in Edmonton. Are you looking to buy a house in Edmonton this year in
Hmm.
2026? Um, don't like really your goal, again, back to the hand raiser, is like people who might move, all you're looking for is a reply, right? You're not, don't use this initial communication expecting it's going to lead to appointments immediately, sign contracts from the email. All your actual goal is just a reply to have people put up their hand and say like I could become a client. Some people like they just jump too far ahead when they're looking at their database to like this email should generate listing appointments today when it should really just help you plan out your communication with for the year with a lot of those people, right? Because like someone might not think about it of like, oh yeah, no, we're probably gonna move this fall. I want to know who's moving this fall now. And I can then kind of send them the right things along the way, knowing that their plans will probably change and there's a good chance they'll move earlier. Like the amount of people, and if you've been in the business more than 3 years, we've all dealt with this at some point where someone says like, no, I'm not moving for like 12 months, 2 years, and then like 6 months later they bought a house.
Hmm.
So it's knowing what that timelines are, you can shorten that significantly. Like whatever timeline someone tells me, minimum I cut it in half.
I agree. Because as soon as you measure, you start to manage.
No. And you can start getting them excited about it and sending them the right place. Then the right one comes up. Because like my follow up, if someone's like, I'm going to move in 2 years, would be something along the lines of, and just curious, like the perfect home came up today, though, would you jump at it?
Hmm.
Like, or is that a firm 2 years? And most people will reply, well, if the perfect home came up, yeah, we'd probably jump at it now. Then you go, okay, well, what is the perfect home for you? And you go into that, right? Because you never know when you're never going to change someone typically from I'm not moving to I'm moving. And there are some exceptions to that, but it's very easy to change someone from I'm moving in a year from now to 6 months.
Totally.
Yeah.
So when we take a look at the start of this year, Catherine's also got question, should you ask in that original email if they've already have a realtor? No.
No.
And actually, I don't think that you should ask that question at all in that way.
No.
Like you could be in a position where you have to be that direct if it's an emergency and you have to answer these questions in 10 seconds or the bomb goes off, but I'm not normally in that situation. So I would ask, have you been viewing houses? And if so, how? And the reason is because sometimes they tell me about a realtor that's not very good at taking care of them and they're open to switching and they haven't signed anything. So I want clients, many of them have had interactions with other agents. And if I make them name their realtor, then that is their realtor because they just said it with their mouth.
And a lot of like they don't understand necessarily that like getting email updates from like some random site they came on is not the
Mhm.
same as you're working with a realtor, right? So by saying it that, it's again like they could say, "Well, I am." So again, we don't try to ask that, and like that question
I don't
to
want to use
me, like
anything delineating. I don't want to
yeah,
do anything that diminishes the amount of people that raise their hand. I'll sort them out later.
yeah, like if you're going to a point, yes, where you're like would you ask why they're looking at houses?
No, why is a really
Yeah.
hard question to answer. If you're ever
Yeah.
wondering, ask a child that. So you can ask what, you can ask where, you can ask how, but stay away from why unless you're in an end game conversation because the amount of compute it takes for people, they feel cornered and it triggers like threat response.
Yeah. And that because you can also find that out starting with other questions like why they're looking at houses. You can be like, what are you looking for in a house? And that will often end up the answer you get tells you why.
Okay, I like to go, I have sharpened this over time.
Yeah.
What do you want to change about where you live?
That's a good opener.
So people, when you say, what do you want? It's this mystical dream list. But if you reference where they live, they can go in the past and deliver so much better information about the future. Oh
Yeah.
man, my next house need a double garage and the kitchen's got to be bigger. And so then I can be like, okay, these are the problems you're trying to solve because you only walk through like 12 houses a year. You walk through your friends' houses and their friends, and that's it. The frame of reference you have, it would be like taking somebody into McDonald's and they have seen one item on the menu and you have to extrapolate the rest.
No. And that's part of the fun. This is good. I like the engagement we're getting today. So,
Okay.
this is great.
Uh, so holistically, what we're looking to do is through January and into February, pull everybody closer to us.
Yeah.
The people that are going to act in April, May, and June, when are they going to know who their realtor is? Before then. So you want to get in the game. You want to get in the game with all the people that are really close to you because the more that you're close with them, the more that they refer to you. Then that concentric circle out from there, like how do you create people, like how do you make people gather? Like we do a launchpad event. So we do an event with our clients at the end of March, and we'll be driving towards that. And the reason is because it's not just about when we have the event, it's the fact that we get to email them once a week about the event for like weeks in advance. And
At
we're telling them
minimum, every
about
event
doing
is four
something for
touches.
them for free.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always say like you want to do a quarterly event typically if you're trying to work your database effectively. I like
I need
Q1 being the
events to
big
be
event.
out of my main season.
Yeah.
So I do March and I do October.
Yeah. So
Mm.
I mean, I think when we say events, some people get caught up in like the big ideas. Events can be both
Mm,
small and big. And this also depends
true
like
that.
database and budget, right? Like what I would do if it was like this is my sales business. I would do every like Q1, maybe late February, early March, something like rent a movie theater, rent a skating rink, like the big event with everyone coming out to. Q2 though, that might just be like late Q2, late spring, get a photographer in a park and tell them they can all come get updated family photos,
Mm.
right? Like I'm not doing something massive, but it's a piece of value for them that they can expect every year that they can at least get free family photo updates. But then like Q3, I might do more like I love this thing that an agent did years ago. He hosted a Simpsons trivia night at a bar, and he
Hmm.
just invited all his
Ooh,
clients out.
Simpsons trivia night. That was
Yeah, because
great.
it's
And it's
so
all the people
specific.
that go to a bar.
Yeah. Okay, and it's so like I more look at like one event, make it more adult or like especially if you are mainly working with families, make it more adult oriented one where like they're out and they're socializing, they're having a good time. Maybe having a drink or two together. Like it doesn't have to be a big thing. You don't have to pay for the drinks. You can just be like, I'm going to cover the apps. I'm going to cover the first round of drinks, but I'm getting everyone together. Like a great way to do it is if something new is opening in your town, reach out and be
Hmm.
like, hey, if you want like a pre-grand opening test run, I'm happy to bring 50, 100 of my clients through and we can do like a private thing and your staff can almost be trained on them because then it gets your clients in trying something new, it's value to them. Like there's some cool ways you can go about that and collaborate with local businesses.
Hmm.
And then the end of the year, like the way that I would do it, which again you have to know your database and who your audience is, I would just organize like photos with Santa and just like
Hmm.
rent a set, like doing the rent to Santas, use the photographer I use in the spring and do it again. But like you can also just do things like get 6 clients and go for dinner, go for lunch. Like it doesn't have to be massive events like Taylor does with like what you were doing with like the fall um farm thing that you did for a while,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
like
The
Cindy and Craig
family
with their
farm and petting
1,500
zoo
prequel
and
movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
So, but these events for me, normally like we've seen 300, 400 people, right?
no,
Um, there's some people that do larger events than that, but it is really about what level, what group is the right size for you to make more of a connection with.
yeah,
So when I go and do these large events, I dress in a specific way. Like I wear a big sun hat to these to this fall event, and we all wear plaid shirts.
yeah,
And because I'm hoping that I will be able to connect with everybody that comes through, but I don't think I do. Whereas what Andrew's talking about, like a lunch, less planning, and sometimes in these cases, if it's an interesting restaurant, like it doesn't mean that you have to pay each time. It
yeah.
could work out differently, but
And
yeah.
it's knowing who they are. And yeah, again, some micro events with less more target people is the way to go. Like, especially for, and when you're growing initially, it's amazing, right? Like, some of the best things I ever did were just regular lunches with people. I feel like the
Hmm.
amount of stuff that that led to years later, right? Like, those things work. So again, don't always think of like events that they have to be these massive things with hundreds and hundreds or more of your clients at them. They can
Hmm.
be small. Like it could be, I'm going to take 10 of you out and we're going to go to an escape room or whatever the number is. Like, we're going to do axe throwing. Like part of the idea with some of these types of group things is social time that's with you makes you more trusted. Like there was a study years ago, and I can't remember the exact number, but it was around 4 hours of time with someone socially was about how long it took for them to be trusted with money. And
And the way the rest of the room is treating you also changes. Like, you ever been to a wedding and looked at the bride and groom as though they were royalty in that moment? It definitely feels that way because everybody in that room holds them in high regard and is supportive of what they're doing right now.
yeah,
And then when you go, when like I have a client event and there's 400 people, like there's a lot of them that's like Taylor's party and Taylor does this for people and he's so nice and there's generosity associated with that. And
yeah,
so that image of me is the best image for me to continue getting referrals and repeat.
yeah. Because when someone wants to do a referral, they're not looking at it as like I'm helping Taylor. It's actually I'm building my reputation with this person I'm referring because they want them to have a great experience and they know Taylor's the one to do it because if he nails the experience with them, it's going to make them look great to their
Hmm.
friend. So that's really what you're trying to like get into their heads of if you send people to me, I'll make you look like a hero. You just can't outright say that necessarily, but that's really
Hmm.
what you're trying to do is you're trying to make them look great to their people so that they'll refer you. And the more that you can kind of show there's a lot of people out there who have that impression of you, the more likely they are to do it.
I agree. So if we're building towards that, like raising our profile for the end of March, which I think is like what my target is here, it may be different where you are based on what your
Yeah.
season is. You kind of want to like look at that the same way, where right now I really want to get on people's radar. So a big initiative in my business this year is video. So even with the face shaving, like that was a good way for me to get attention right out of the gate. And now I can kind of play with that as I go through this season, and keep trying to hit all my points. So there's going to be a point in here that's a natural point of getting in touch with your clients. We do a mail out, and it's going to announce that we have our event coming, but it's also going to address that they received their tax assessment.
Yeah.
So that tax assessment email or that tax assessment that they receive, everyone looks at and everyone has feelings about the number. So I want to get into that moment. And what most people's feelings are, the people that have the biggest feelings, are going to be the ones who think it's wrong. They either think that they'd never be able to get that much for their house, and so they're being overcharged, or they think that they've undervalued them and they can't believe that they don't understand why this house is worth more.
Yeah.
So getting in there and telling them this isn't the value, this is not market value, this is tax assessed value, and there's multiple values. That's something that really helps out.
Yeah. You just gotta
So I
follow
do it as a mail out because I want, and what I'm looking for with
postcard or letter though. That's what she's asking to mail
letter.
out. Okay.
Yeah, what I'm actually looking for is that when people see my mail, they're like, huh. So in that, I also send home show tickets. So when they grab that letter, it feels like there's something in there. And then when they open it, there's reasons to read. Like this is the announcement for our pad event, and our clients are mostly families with kids. And then it's also going to have information about their tax assessment,
No.
and it'll have these home show tickets in it. And I don't send a lot of things by mail, but I advise doing it a couple of times a year. And part of the reason is because sometimes it's sad and you get returned to sender because they moved with someone else. Well,
And
stop paying to talk to them then.
a letter that's like, especially their names handwritten with like a stamp on it, way
Mhm.
more likely to make it past the recycling bin sorter and
Mm.
brought into the house where they're going to open it at like the kitchen table, right?
Oh, the
Like it
tax.
gives you extra time.
Uh, sorry, Andrew.
Yeah.
Catherine's asking about what kind of tax assessment info. So what I'm looking to do is one, I can't make a letter that's individual for every single one of them about their tax assessment. So that's one thing that I've learned over time. So I'm sending, so think about somebody opening this. They either had no feeling, a small feeling, or a big feeling about the tax assessment that they had got previously. There's a chance they didn't look at it, but by the time they get to my mail, they've read this one, even if it's in the same stack. So then when we do put information on how they calculate it, like, so, hey, did you get your tax assessment? Just know that this is only tax assessed value and doesn't reflect the actual money you could get for your house if you had to sell it today. However, you should know how they calculate this and what you need to do if you feel as though it's wrong. As your friends in real estate, if you do choose to challenge your tax assessment, we're here to back you up. And that's basically it.
Super simple.
Mhm.
Yes, Tyler, it would be a great time to talk about how to appeal your taxes, which Taylor just mentioned, kind of the wording of it. And a lot
Yeah.
of these things
And
is
also
just
a frame of reference. Like if it's not more than $10,000 off, don't appeal it because the cost of appealing it is designed to prohibit under a certain number. So giving them like insight instead of info is the idea.
yeah. And again, like just think about it like your job basically throughout the year is when it comes to their house, you're the expert about it. This is going to come down from taxes to anything that could be related to their house. Like if zoning changed, like I did this when I was on like when the catchment areas changed for schools. I send that out. I knew most of them already knew it, but it was a simple like, here's where this is why it's changed. Here's where it is. Um, and if you do like if that's
That's
changed where you want to
different.
be, let me know.
Could you imagine that somebody gave you the ingredients for a cake? Would you value that the same as if they gave you cake?
No,
See?
unless I was a baker.
That's what giving people general information is in the age of information. It is of zero value. In fact, they can normally get higher quality information in less time than it takes for you to say it.
No.
So if you accept that, then you're going to do things where you're like, oh, they only want refined information. They only want cake. So you really do have to say the city catchment zones have changed and it impacts this zone and this zone the most, right? So that people know whether or not it affects them. And then after that, this is why they did it and how to deal with it if
Yeah.
you're impacted.
Yeah.
But
And
like
it's
you
just
really
you're
have to
there to help.
refine that.
Yeah. And it's again thinking about the questions that someone would have. Like this is one that did well for me as well. And for clients and subsequents, like people back on a golf course, if they ever sell to a developer, so I know here's what this means for you. Right? Like that type of thing is a great one. You can always either get some listings or other potential pieces out of that. There's another question from Tyler. Speaking of mail, do you see value in reaching out to circle prospect listings that you have sold via mail, or is there another way we should do that? What do you do
So
now?
if it's listings that you've sold, so he's talking about your idea to approach listings that were
Yeah.
sold by you to someone else.
Yeah.
So for me, because this is a finite number and what I would consider like a high probability win, if you play it right, I would consider doing a higher impact situation. So it's a very manageable number for most agents. You know,
Yeah.
like even if you were thinking about 100 of these, that's not too bad to scale out. Then the
Yeah.
idea is you might want to showcase or set up something that's specific to them. So it might show things like the old pictures.
Yeah.
Know that they have changed this house. So they're not going to be like, "Oh, since you have the pictures." It's more so that that you understand their house and you were already able to sell it once, so you're proven.
And when it's the out
And
of
then
town one, if you're doing that idea, just as a side note of this, is like you'll have a pretty good idea too, is are they an out of town buyer? Right? Because sometimes like an out of town agent typically means one of two things. They're also from out of town, the buyer, and they're bringing their local one who lists their home. They're driving a couple hours with them. Or it was a family friend or family who's coming in to help them locally, but it's someone local. But if you know they're an out of town buyer, one of the easiest things is like a welcome to the neighborhood basket. Like
mm,
become basically you're not there to like sell them because like they're probably gonna be in that home now for a while.
even the out
It's
of like the welcome basket with a logo on it would get you reported at my board.
yeah, but I wouldn't even do that, right? Like I would literally just be like how I would like the approach that I would do and what I know that guy was mentioned to before he did is like he would go buy like a welcome to the neighborhood kit and it'd just be like a handwritten letter that was like, "Hi, I saw you're from out of town. I put this together on behalf of the previous owners who'd like to give
Mhm.
you a welcome to the neighborhood. We hope you loved it as much as they did." And then you like sign your name to it. Right? You're at no point is are you trying to sell them? Are you trying to get them to reach out to you?
But you're trying
It's
to go around.
you're trying to create goodwill and be seen as a neighborhood expert.
And I do understand that. So, but
Yeah.
like the intention is to find the way through. That's
Yeah.
all marketing is. So what Andrew's saying is he can see a vehicle to start a relationship with this person to plant seeds for the future now.
Yeah.
And all it has to be is like maybe you give them a gift that says it's a joint gift from you and the sellers
Yeah. And it's
and it starts
make
it
it
off.
very specific to the neighborhood, right? Like as
Mhm.
much as you can tie it to local things, because especially if it's someone from out of town going, they won't know the hidden gems locally and all the cool spots.
Mm.
Right? So like think of
So
it
you
as an
get credit for
opportunity.
that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like this is a great boutique rest or like unique restaurant over here. This is a great boutique shop if you like this. This is for this. Like basically it's that guide of like the locals insiders guide to our area of things you can try out now that you're one of us.
That's awesome. I want
Yeah.
to tie into some talk tracks because we talk about marketing, but also on the sales side, what are you talking about right now? Uh, I think that the biggest mistake is that agents are focused on people that want to take action right now. And if you were wanted to, if you could ask the market, if it was your big audience that you could see with your eyes, and you said, "Hey, how many people want to buy a house right now?" There would be a few hand raisers. But if you just said how many people want to buy a house you would have way more hand raisers. In fact, almost all of them would raise. So now I would always prefer to say, who wants to buy a house, see all the hand raisers, and then sort them into a timeline, turn it into a factory, and make money for a few years. But so many people get caught on like, oh, who wants to buy a house right now? That can be a second question. But make sure that you are not stepping over dollars to pick up dimes by like approaching it from that way. So when people walk into your open house, finding out whether or not they're a buyer or a seller is the first way thing that you should try to sort out because it's actually more likely that they are a seller. And then helping them gain access to you in like non-threatening ways is the key. And if you talk about this as being a future project and not a now project, that makes you seem less of a shyster, and they will tell you to move up the timeline if it's important to them. So as we move through this, think about those people around you and where you could benefit the most. Like if people knew more about what weeks were the biggest advantage, so you can go to the weeks of MLS over the last 5 years and take a look at that like opening to the spring. So wait until you can find that graph, take that big sweeping uptick in new listings. The 2 weeks just before that, now you have insight. Now you have refined insight instead of general percentage shit that so many agents send out related to stats. They don't want your homework, man.
Yeah. Like, and it's really important to get like, especially like thinking of the Toronto area, because like all the stats just came out that it's like the lowest volume of sales in 25 years for Toronto. If you're selling in Toronto area, like I would bring that up with that. Here's what that means for you. Like I give it a little bit of that and give it the insight of like it's the lowest number of sales because most people aren't moving right now, but here's who is.
Yeah, so you want to highlight
And
that in two ways. So first off,
yeah.
be careful associating yourself with negative news. So if
Mhm.
that's your theme song, that's not a good theme song, right? You're going to sound like Darth Vader when they come in if you're constantly like, the sky is falling.
Yeah.
So you have to get into their skin. And if there's, so everywhere they see, so starting that way and saying, it's everywhere that this is the worst market ever since the 80s.
Yeah.
What it means for you. So, one, if you're not planning to move this year, it means that it doesn't matter. There's only 2 days that matter with the value of your house. It's the day you bought it and the day you sold it. Since we don't know that end answer, we don't know how you are right now. And that's fine. This is a place you live. Don't even let them bother you. Laugh. When you see stuff like this, just be like, ah, suckers, I'm glad I don't have to participate.
It's going to change 100
Then
times between now and you sell.
on the other side is if you do need to move this year. Now, this is where I want them to see me as a good guide. Like if you're out on a lion safari, that guide will turn around and be like, listen to me or you're going to die. And I want them to feel the same. So I'm going to say, well, you know what? They're not joking. This market is a real challenge. What people wanted from the last market was the person that could get them the most money. That's not changed. I'm still that guy, right? The environment has changed, but I'm bringing people to the finish line. We're going out on safari and they are ending up with nice pictures, not dying. Here's some nice pictures. Like when we get to the market evaluation, I'm going to show them how they have to be a 12 out of 10. And because I'm the guy who told them that, my listings are going to sell. Then I'm going to have better sale percentage to advertise. And then Andrew's going to help me run it out through the world and tell everybody. Like do cool shit and then tell people about it. I get to tell people I had 57 offers on one house for my whole fucking career now.
Oh, like having those, it's like the credibility bump forever,
Yeah,
ever. Yeah. But that's, Toronto, 57 offers as a record isn't that high.
it is. If you ask Tom Ferry, he's only actually heard about it once, more higher than that, and he has 4,000 coaching clients, and it was in California.
Really? I've had agents who have over 100, multiple.
Over 100 offers?
Man, Toronto market at the peak there was nuts.
I was consulting
Nuts.
several agents, and
Man.
they were seeing numbers in the 40s.
Yeah,
They were
that's the
seeing
most like
70 showings
I'd
on
say most
opening weekend.
common
But
was
if you were
like
talking
that
to Tom's
10 to
story,
30. Yeah.
he told me it was 30, 35 was what his average
Oh
was.
man, I'll think of who I'll try and find back who I can. It was I think it was sisters. I'll find out who it was and I'll find it. But no, there's definitely some that were significant.
Mhm.
It was pretty wild. But that was like the peak with like the perfect house a couple
Yeah.
times. Yeah. But
And
like
mine
it's
was
pretty
like
wild.
more of a system. But
Yeah.
yes, Catherine, using price as a marketing tool is something that most black belts do. And what I mean by that is that what is list price? It's not the price that the seller wants. Most of the time, they want more than that. It's not the
Yeah.
price the house sells for. More normally, in most markets, it sells for less than that.
Yeah.
So, what is list price? List price is a lie.
I was just saying profit in Toronto with over 130 offers.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'm from Alberta, and I thought
Yeah.
my numbers were great, but I just got checked.
For Alberta, little guy.
Harsh. And for a lot of the states.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you can't, it's hard to compare just how nuts the Toronto market was there for a bit, right? Like it was
Right. This
insane.
is a real country
Uh,
most moment, by the way.
yeah. But no, like I mean, you still set the record for probably for Edmonton.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, for the people I
yeah,
compete with, this is not going to be a
yeah,
problem. Most of them never
yeah, it's
seen
amazing. I
over
mean,
20
that number's
offers.
still great for Toronto. We're just saying there's outliers that were nuts.
All right.
But yeah, so that actually brings us to the top of the hour. So what happens now? We turn off the recording. We do what we call our after show. And basically, we go off the record. We keep talking. Sometimes it stays on real estate. Sometimes we answer questions. Sometimes we talk about which animals we could take in a fight and could we land a plane if we got it.
Yeah, this is a
Um,
real gamble.
yeah,
Most of our presentation is what we would call a tightrope act.
yeah.
No
That's pretty
nets.
good. So if you are here live, stick around and we'll keep going. If you are watching the recording, show up live. And we promise, Catherine, no more wild
Yeah,
hog
we'd
talk.
love to hear you in our chat.
Yeah.
And well, we hope we love that. Maybe we won't.
Yeah. So if you're watching the recording, see you next week. If you're here live,
Yep.
we'll keep going right now.